Hello folks, and welcome to my channel. I'm Steve, aka the Wordinator. Now this video is just for me to introduce myself and my channel, and to let you all know what you can expect. If you want to get into the meat and see the football, there'll be a timestamp in the description, so you can skip over all this preamble. I'm also going to leave a timestamp for the introduction of the Meta Trophy Challenge I'll be running on this channel. It's not essential for your enjoyment of the individual videos, but it will explain why I'll be keeping track of trophy wins. Okay, so the first question I imagine you're asking is, Steve, why are you called a Wordinator? Well, that's fairly simple. I'm a writer, an author of comedic fantasy novels, to be specific, and thought the name represented me pretty well, so I went with it. Now don't worry, this is still a Football Manager channel, so I'm not going to be bombarding you with sales pitches for my books, at all. If you do happen to be curious, I'm going to put a single link for you to follow in the description, and you can check it out if you feel like it. Okay, your next question is probably, well, what can we expect from you and your channel? Well, in a word or two, Football Manager. Now, I know most Football Manager YouTubers have largely the same sort of content, rebuilds, glory hunters, random challenges and the like. So I'm aiming to make my take on them refreshing and a little different in some way. One way I'm doing that is with the aforementioned Trophy Meta Challenge. So I want to see how many of the different trophies in the game that I can win. So you'll find that I'll be doing a lot of saves in a lot of different leagues, avoiding repeats as often as I can. Obviously, in some cases it won't be possible, but I'll do my best. And at the end of each video, I'll be keeping a running tally of the trophies won up to that point across all the videos. And at the end, just before FM27 is released, we'll take a look at the final tally. Okay, and with that in mind, I actually have some trophy wins to share already. When FM26 was first released, I wanted to try out as many of the new features as I could on a practice save, and so I chose a women's team, Wrexham AFC Women specifically, because their team is familiar to me. I don't have a lot of familiarity with the women's game outside of the most famous names here, Jess Fishlocks, Jill Scotts, Megan Rapinoe's and the like, but Wrexham is my team, and I'm fairly familiar with the players, so it gave me a good place to start. So on first blush, the team appears to be fairly decent, with Ava Suckley, Abby Edendon, Rosie Hughes and Lily Jones amongst the most notable players available. The team seems set to be capable challengers for the Adran Premier League title, but Cardiff City are still favourites, and I was only intending for this to be a one-season save just for the practice and to get used to the new game, so I wanted to do as much as I could to ensure that I won the championship in this single season. And if I was going to manage it, this would require a pretty sizable overhaul of the squad. 18 players left over the summer, including Rosie, Ava and Abby, at a combined sum of nearly £90,000, whilst 14 joined for a total of £11,000, 12 of which were on free transfers. Ashley Ward, Sophia Farrow, Sarah Baldy and Judith Lutheriaga were brought in to cover both wing and wing-back positions. Lan Hammond and Abby Green to striker and central attacking midfield spots respectively. Yana Kappas was signed from Bayern Munich 2 for £3,000 to be the centre of a back three, whereas Shino Matsuda joined us from Nippon TV Tokyo Beleza for £8,000 to also be part of our new defence as the right-sided centre-back. And finally, Sylvia Perez was brought in on free transfer to be our new first-choice goalkeeper, making up the core of our new starting 11. The only players from the original Wrexham squad who kept their place in the first team were Lily Jones as our CDM and Erin Lovett as our left-sided centre-back, as I set us up in a 5-3-1-3 formation with wing-backs overlapping inside forwards for a high-tempo wing-play tactic. It didn't take long for the players to find their feet as a team, going unbeaten in pre-season and only dropping 4 points in the first 5 games of the season proper, including a strong 4-1 home win against Barry Town United and a dominant 5-1 victory over Swansea City at the Swansea.com stadium. That was quickly followed by our first loss, losing 3-1 at home to who else? Cardiff City. The girls bounced back immediately with a comprehensive 7-0 demolition of Airbus UK in the first round of the FAW Women's Cup. This started a 6-game winning run, including a 7-2 thrashing of Pontypridd United in the 5th round of the Adran Trophy, where Sarah Baldy scored 5, and a 7-3 defeat of Aberystwyth Town in the league, where Baldy scored another hat-trick, bringing her total for the season to 16 in all competitions, and we were just leaving November. November actually ended with our second loss of the season, a 3-2 home loss to Swansea City in the league, a loss that would end up being our final one of the season, as we went on to only drop 4 more points all season with draws against, wouldn't you know it, both Swansea City and Cardiff City. The most attentive among you will have realised that this means we won both of the knockout trophies, the Adran Trophy with a 2-1 win over TNS, and the FAW Women's Cup with a 2-0 victory over Cardiff City, adding the first 2 unique trophies to my meta challenge. But what of the Gennaro Adran Premier League? I hear you screaming in anticipation. Well, after ending the season on a high with a 7-2 thrashing of Cardiff City, we were crowned league champions with 46 points and a goal difference of 34, adding a third unique trophy to my meta challenge. And that was where I was planning to end this save. I'd completed a season, had a good look at what the women's side of the game offered, and picked up a few trophies for the challenge. All things considered, I was pretty happy and ready to move on. After all, even though winning the Adran Premier meant I would be playing in the Women's Champions League next season, the jump from the Adran Premier in Wales to the Champions League is huge. Teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, PSG and so forth, they're all way beyond Wrexham. But I got curious, and I wanted to see how far I could get. And, well, this happened. Yeah, I managed to win the Women's Champions League on the first attempt with Wrexham, as well as going unbeaten for the entire season and winning all 3 domestic competitions for the second time. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. How the hell did you manage that? This shouldn't have been possible. And you're right, it shouldn't have been. Not with the team I had. After all, my best players had just been taken from me in the off-season, with Sophia Farrow, Abby Green, Judith Luthriaga, and the previous season's Player of the Year, Sarah Baldy, who, by the way, finished the season on 30 goals and 8 assists from 28 games in all competitions, playing as a right-sided inside forward, all being amongst the 13 players who left for a combined total of £450,000. So I needed to do another rebuild. And oh boy, did I ever rebuild. I brought in a total of 16 new faces, and all but one of them were on free transfers. And you will not believe who I actually brought in. Lucy Bronze was first, from Chelsea, to be cover across all areas of defence and wing-backs. Taniba Samura came next from PSG as an upgrade for Jana Kapish, who actually remains with the team but as a squad player now. Philippa Angeldal joined from Real Madrid for £5,000 to provide Lily Jones with competition in the CDM spot. We also brought in a number of promising young players, some of whom actually cemented start places for themselves, including a Brazilian regen named Layla, who replaced Sophia Farrow as the left inside forward. Momoka Ikeda joined us to replace Silvia Perez in goal, and Ambar Figueroa, who joined as a backup striker. After a long search, Ashley Sanchez was brought in from NC Courage to replace Sarah Baldy as the right-sided inside forward, and Riza Shimizu joined from Man City to replace Judith Luthriaga. Nerea Nevado also joined us from Bilbao as our new starting left wing-back. And up top, we signed perhaps the most outrageous new signing possible. Bunny Shaw, the Jamaican international, who for some reason had been released by Man City. We brought in a few more signings to act as cover, and altogether I'd managed to piece together a team capable of winning the Champions League for less money than I received just for selling Sarah Baldy. And by God were they capable. Bunny Shaw ended the season with an outrageous 62 goals in 36 games across all competitions. We went the whole season without dropping a single point, winning every single game as we carried off the quadruple and scoring a total of 236 goals in all competitions. So once again, at this point, I know what you're thinking. There's absolutely no way you did that. You must have save scummed. Well, no, I didn't. I didn't need to. But there is a caveat coming up, so bear with me, okay? The majority of the goals came from domestic games, as the competition, such as it was, just wasn't anywhere near the skill level the players had managed to accrue. It pretty much changed the league and turned it into the equivalent of Arsenal playing against Sunday League teams. That's just how much better the players I now had were compared to everybody else in the Adran Premier. The results in the Champions League were often a lot closer. More often than not, I only ended up winning by a single goal. But the Women's Champions League doesn't actually have that many games, especially compared to the men's, so there weren't that many chances for me to actually lose or draw on my way to winning it. And as it was, the team I had actually proved strong enough to power through and win. So yeah, I won the Women's Champions League on my first try, repeated all domestic trophies, so now I get to add another unique trophy to my Meta Challenge list to make it 4. Except I don't. You see, a little while after I'd finished this save, one of the updates for FM26 fixed some issues in the women's game that made it too easy to sign really good players. See, I thought things had seemed a little too simple, as even if they're playing in the Champions League, the reputation of Wrexham and the Adran Premier just isn't high enough to interest players like Lucy Bronze and Bunny Shaw in real life, let alone the fantastic youth prospects I brought in from Brazil, Chile and Japan. So it's with a heavy heart that I scrubbed this Champions League trophy from the Meta Challenge list. It just doesn't feel like to claim it. Even though I played the game as presented to me, I still unknowingly exploited the game. I didn't truly earn that trophy win. so at some point I will come back to win it properly, but for now, I'll let it go. I am going to keep the domestic trophy wins, however, because in real life Wrexham are closely challenging on all fronts. So it's not unreasonable to see them do a clean sweep, especially with the improved players that I was able to bring in. And there we have it. An introduction to the channel, our first trophy wins, and a controversial ending. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my first video, and if you have, please do all the usual liking, subscribing stuff. And until next time, these will be my final words. Thank you for watching. I hate to love you and leave you, so I'm just going to leave you. Bye bye.